What happens when the person you help becomes your worst nightmare? This is the story of two twins who shared everything and a girl who came between them with a plan so evil even the devil would be proud. Long, long ago, in a village where gold flowed like water and secrets hid behind every smile, lived two twins who were born on the stroke of midnight during a thunderstorm. The older women in the village said this meant they shared one soul between two bodies. Their names were Amara and Amani. Amara was the girl, beautiful as the morning sun, with a heart so kind it could melt ice. Amani was the boy, strong as a lion, with wisdom that impressed even the village elders. These twins were not ordinary people. The gods blessed them with incredible luck. Everything they touched turned to gold. Amara's fabric shop was famous across 7 kingdoms. Kings and queens traveled from far away to buy her beautiful clothes. Amani worked as the chief advisor to the great emperor himself, making decisions that affected millions of people. But here's what made them truly special. They shared everything. Every thought, every dream, every secret. When one felt pain, the other felt it too. When one laughed, the other couldn't help but smile. They even dressed in matching clothes every single day, like two halves of the same person. The villagers used to say, "Those twins are so close, not even death could separate them." How wrong they were. One day, when the rains were heavy and the sky was dark, a girl appeared at Amara's shop. She was soaking wet, shivering, and looked like she hadn't eaten in days. Her name was Kesi, and she had the saddest eyes anyone had ever seen. "Please," Kesi begged, falling to her knees in front of Amara. "I have nowhere to go. My family is dead. I'll do anything, clean, cook. So, just please don't let me die on the streets." Amara's heart broke into a million pieces. She immediately took Kesi home and gave her warm clothes, hot food, and a soft bed to sleep in. "You're safe now," Amara whispered, holding Kesi as she cried. "I'll take care of you like my own sister." And that's precisely what Amara did. She didn't just give Kesi a job, she gave her a new life. Beautiful clothes, expensive jewelry, trips to distant lands, and introductions to wealthy customers who made Kesi rich beyond her wildest dreams. Amara even bought Kesi her own shop and filled it with the finest fabrics in the world. Kesi smiled every day and called Amara my savior, my angel, my dearest friend. She hugged Amara and brought her flowers. She cooked Amara's favorite meals and sang beautiful songs to make her laugh. But here's what Amara didn't know, and this is where our story gets scary. Every night, when Amara was sleeping, Kesi would sneak around the house like a ghost. She copied down Amara's passwords. She read Amara's private letters. She even went through Amara's jewelry box and tried on her most precious necklaces, staring at herself in the mirror with eyes that burned like fire. Soon, Kesi would whisper to her reflection, "Soon, I'll have everything that should have been mine." You see, Kesi wasn't grateful at all. She was jealous. Every kindness from Amara felt like an insult. Every gift felt like charity from someone who thought they were better than her. And slowly, like poison spreading through her veins, Kesi began to hate the girl who had saved her life. But Kesi was clever. Oh, she was very, very smart. She knew that if she wanted to destroy Amara, she had to attack what Amara loved most in the world. And what did Amara love most? Her twin brother Amani. So Kesi began to watch Amani like a hawk watches a mouse. She learned his habits, his favorite foods, and the kind of jokes that made him laugh. She studied him like a hunter studies her prey. Then, one evening, when the moon was dark and the owls were silent, Kesi put her evil plan into action. She started appearing wherever Amani went. If he bought fruit at the market, Kesi would be there, dropping her mangoes so he could help her pick them up. If he went to the temple to pray, Kesi would be there, crying softly so he would ask what was wrong. "You're so kind," Kesi would say, looking up at Amani with those sad, beautiful eyes. "Not like other men. You care about people." Slowly and carefully, like a spider spinning its web, Kesi made Amani fall in love with her. She told him stories about her hard life that made him want to protect her. She laughed at all his jokes and said he was the smartest man she'd ever met. She cooked his favorite meals and left them in his chamber with sweet little notes. And the most evil part of all, she made him promise to keep their relationship a secret. "Your sister won't understand," Kesi whispered, tears in her eyes. "She'll think I'm not good enough for you. She'll send me away, and I'll lose the only family I've ever had. Please, my love, let's keep this between us until the time is right." Amani, kind and trusting as he was, agreed. He thought he was protecting both the women he loved. He had no idea he was walking straight into a trap that would destroy everything he had. For 8 whole months, Kesi played this dangerous game. During the day, she was Amara's loving friend and grateful employee. At night, she was Amani's secret girlfriend, planning a future that would tear the twins apart forever. And then came the night that changed everything. It was the festival of the harvest moon, and Amara was excited to attend the celebration with Amani. She had spent weeks designing matching outfits. Hers was a gorgeous red dress with golden threads, and Amani's was a traditional red attire with the same golden pattern. "We'll look like royalty," Amara laughed, spinning around in her dress. "Everyone will know we're the famous mirror twins." She waited in the living room, practically bouncing with excitement. When she heard Amani's footsteps in the hallway, she closed her eyes and prepared to see how handsome he looked in his matching outfit. But when Amani appeared, Amara's heart stopped. He was wearing a completely different outfit, a blue, traditional outfit she'd never seen before. "Brother," Amara's voice was small and confused. "Where's your red attire? Where's our matching outfit?" Amani smiled nervously and gestured toward the hallway. "Turn around, sister." Amara turned, and the world seemed to tilt sideways. Kesi stood at the door, glowing like a goddess in the exact red dress that was supposed to match Amara's outfit. She strolled like a queen making her entrance, her eyes fixed on Amara's shocked face. "Surprise," Amani said, his voice full of joy and excitement. "Meet my fiancé." The word hit Amara like lightning. She staggered backward, her hand flying to her heart. "You're... what? We've been in love for 8 months," Kesi said softly, moving to stand beside Amani. "We wanted to tell you, but we didn't know how." Amara felt like she was drowning. The room spun around her, and she couldn't breathe. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of secrets. 8 months of her twin brother, living a double life. 8 months, Amara whispered. "You've been lying to me for 8 months?" "I didn't mean to lie," Amani said, reaching for her. I didn't know how to tell you." But Amara jerked away from his touch as it burned her. She looked back and forth between them, her brother, who had never kept a secret from her in their entire lives, and her best friend, who was wearing the dress that was supposed to be Amani's. And that's when Amara saw it. Just for a split second, Kesi's mask slipped. Instead of looking apologetic or nervous, Kesi looked triumphant, like she had just won the greatest victory of her life. "Congratulations," Amara said, her voice deadly calm. "I hope you'll be very happy together." She turned and walked toward her room, her bare feet silent on the cold marble floor. Behind her, she could hear Amani calling her name, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop, because if she turned around, she might say something that would destroy them all. That night, while Amani and Kesi celebrated their engagement with the entire village, Amara packed everything she owned. Her clothes, her jewelry, her books, and even her pet bird, Asha. She moved like a woman in a trance, folding each item carefully as tears streamed down her face. She left only one thing behind, a letter on Amani's pillow. My dearest brother, you have chosen to build your future on lies and secrets. Since there is no room for me in this new life you're creating, I release you from the bond we shared since birth. Don't look for me. I am dead to you now, as you are to me. May you find happiness in your deception. By sunrise, Amara was gone. Amani returned home to find empty rooms and silence that screamed louder than any words. He called Amara's name, but only echoes answered. He searched every corner of the house but found nothing except the ghost of her perfume and the memory of her laughter. Her phone was disconnected. Her social media accounts were deleted. Her business was closed, with a sign that said, "Gone forever." It was as if Amara had vanished from the earth. "She'll come back," Kesi said, wrapping her arms around Amani's trembling shoulders. "She just needs time to accept our love." But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and Amara remained gone. Amani barely ate. He couldn't sleep. He wandered the house like a ghost, calling out to his sister, who would never answer. The villagers whispered that half of his soul had died. Kesi tried everything to comfort him. She cooked elaborate meals that Amani barely touched. She decorated the house with flowers that he never noticed. She even started wearing Amara's perfume, hoping it would bring him comfort. But nothing worked. Amani was a broken man, and Kesi was losing the prize she had fought so hard to win. So she played her final card. "My love," Kesi whispered one evening, placing Amani's hand on her stomach. "We're going to have a baby." For the first time in months, light returned to Amani's eyes. A baby, his child. Even in his grief, he felt a spark of joy. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice full of wonder. Kesi nodded, tears of fake happiness streaming down her face. "Our little miracle. Maybe this baby will bring your sister back to us. Maybe she'll want to be an aunt." Hope bloomed in Amani's chest like a flower after rain. He imagined teaching his child to walk, to read, to be kind and wise. He pictured Amara holding her nephew or niece, forgiveness healing the wounds between them. Kesi moved into the bedroom and began preparing a nursery. She painted it soft yellow and filled it with toys and books. She sang lullabies and glowed with the happiness of a woman blessed with a new life. For 3 months, Amani believed that everything would work out. He should have known that in stories like this, happiness never lasts. It was during the 4th month of Kesi's pregnancy when something strange began happening in the kingdom. Wealthy and successful men started disappearing from their homes in the middle of the night. Some were found days later, babbling nonsense about a woman with sad eyes who had destroyed their lives. Others were never found at all. The elders called emergency meetings. Guards patrolled the streets after dark. Mothers locked their doors and warned their sons not to trust beautiful strangers. But the disappearances continued. Then, one night, when the moon was blood red and the wind howled like a wounded animal, Amani and Kesi returned from dinner to find their house blazing with light. Every window glowed like fire, and the front door stood wide open like the mouth of a hungry beast. Amani's heart nearly stopped. Sitting in the living room, elegant as a queen on her throne, was Amara. But this wasn't the Amara who had left 4 months ago. This Amara was different. Her hair was shorter, sharper. Her clothes were all black. Her eyes were cold as winter storms. And when she smiled, it was the smile of a predator who had been hunting for a very long time. "Hello, brother," Amara said, her voice silk over steel. "Hello, Kesi. Miss me?" Amani stumbled forward like a man seeing a ghost. "Amara, thank the gods you're alive." I thought I'd lost you forever." "Lost me?" Amara laughed, but it wasn't the warm laughter Amani remembered. It was sharp, cold, and dangerous. "Oh, my dear brother, I was never lost. I was just busy." Kesi stepped behind Amani, her hand protectively covering her belly. "Amara, please, we're having a baby. Your nephew or niece needs peace." Amara's cold eyes fixed on Kesi's stomach, and her smile grew wider and more terrifying. "Ah, yes," Amara said softly. "The baby. Tell me, Kesi, how is my little nephew doing? Is he growing strong? Is he healthy?" Something in Amara's tone made Kesi's blood turn to ice. He's fine. Growing every day. MMM. Amara stood up slowly like a cat, preparing to pounce. "That's wonderful, because I've been so worried about him. I've been worried about a lot of things lately." She walked to an ornate chest in the corner of the room and pulled out a thick folder bulging with papers and photographs. "You see, I've had some time to think during these past 4 months, and when I think, I like to investigate." Amara opened the folder and began spreading photographs across the table like cards in a deadly game. The photos showed Kesi with different men. Wealthy men, powerful men, men who looked terrified and broken. "Recognize these faces, Kesi?" Amara asked conversationally. "Because they certainly remember you." Kesi's face went white as bone. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't you?" Amara pulled out newspaper clippings and read the headlines aloud. "Wealthy merchant found dead. Suicide note mentions mysterious woman. Powerful judge disappears after meeting strange girl. Rich farmer's fortune stolen by woman who claimed to love him. 27 men," Amara said, her voice eerily calm. 27 wealthy, successful men who crossed paths with our sweet little Kesi here. And do you know what they all have in common, brother? Amani felt sick. What? They're all dead or missing. The room fell silent except for the sound of Amani's heart breaking all over again. Amara continued pulling out evidence, bank statements showing large payments, recorded phone calls, threatening letters, and even photographs of Kesi with the men just days before they vanished. "It's quite a business model," Amara said admiringly. Kesi would target wealthy men, make them fall in love with her, then slowly drain their fortunes. When they had nothing left to give, she would dispose of them. Kesi's mask finally cracked. Her sweet expression melted away like wax in fire, revealing something cold and vicious underneath. "They deserved it," Kesi hissed. "Every single one of them deserved what they got." "Even the ones with children?" Amara asked softly. "Even the ones who never hurt anyone?" "Especially them." Kesi's eyes blazed with hatred. "All men are monsters. They take and take and take until there's nothing left. They deserve to suffer." Amani staggered backward like he'd been struck by lightning. But you love me. You're having my baby." Kesi threw back her head and laughed, a sound like breaking glass and screaming wind. "Love you?" she shrieked. "I hate you. I hate all men. And there is no baby, you fool." The words hit Amani like a physical blow. He dropped to his knees, staring at the woman he thought he knew. "You lied about the pregnancy?" "I lied about everything," Kesi snarled. "I never loved you. I never wanted your child. This was all just a game to destroy the person I hate most in this world." She turned to Amara, her face twisted with years of buried rage. Perfect little Princess Amara, who thought she could buy a human being and play dress-up with her like a doll. Amara's composure cracked for the first time. "I never treated you like that. I loved you like a sister. You treated me like your pet," Kesi screamed, "like something pretty to show off to your rich friends. Do you remember the moon festival last year, Amara? Do you remember what you said when someone asked if I might marry your brother someday? A memory hit Amara like cold water. She did remember. Oh gods, she remembered. You laughed, Kesi continued, her voice shaking with fury. You laughed and said Amani would never lower himself to marry a beggar girl. You showed everyone pictures of the noble ladies he'd courted and asked if I looked like I belonged with them. The memory was clear now, sharp as a knife. Amara had been joking with friends, making casual conversation. She hadn't meant to be cruel. She hadn't even thought. I sat there while you and your friends laughed at the idea of me being not good enough for your precious brother. Kesi spat. I smiled and pretended it didn't matter while you made it clear that I was nothing but your charity case. Kesi, I was just making conversation. I didn't mean. You meant every word. Kesi's voice rose to a shriek. That night, I decided to show you what your worthless little charity case could really do. I decided to take the thing you loved most and break it right in front of you. Understanding dawned on Amani's face like a horrible sunrise. You never loved me. This was all revenge against my sister. Finally, the great advisor understands, Kesi mocked. Everything was revenge. The secret relationship, the lies, even the fake pregnancy. I wanted to watch you choose me over her. I wanted to see her heartbreak when she realized she wasn't the most important thing in your life anymore. Amara felt tears she hadn't known she was holding back and started to fall. Kesi, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what I said. I was thoughtless and cruel, and I hurt you when I should have protected you. For just a moment, something flickered in Kesi's eyes, surprise. Maybe at the genuine remorse in Amara's voice. But the moment shattered when they heard drums beating in the distance. War drums. What's that sound? Amani asked, struggling to his feet. Amara smiled, and it was terrible and beautiful at the same time. That, my dear brother, is the sound of justice coming home. The drumbeats grew louder and closer. Then they heard voices shouting, feet running, metal clanging against metal. You see, Amara said conversationally, while you two were playing your little game of lies and betrayal, I was busy. I spent 4 months tracking down the families of every man Kesi murdered. I gathered evidence. I built a case. And tonight, they're all coming to collect what's owed to them. Kesi's face cycled through shock, rage, and finally, cold acceptance. You think you've won, she said, straightening her shoulders. But I'm not finished yet. Quick as a snake, Kesi pulled a small dagger from her dress. The same dress that was supposed to match Amani's shirt. The dress that had started all this heartbreak. If I can't have him, Kesi snarled, then no one can. She lunged toward Amani with the blade raised high. But Amara was faster. The twins had been connected since birth, sharing thoughts, feelings, and instincts. At that moment, they were once again one person. Amara threw herself between Kesi and Amani just as the dagger came down. The blade meant for Amani's heart pierced Amara's shoulder instead. Sister! Amani screamed, catching Amara as she fell. Kesi stared at the blood on her blade, her face blank with shock. I didn't mean you weren't supposed to. But I did, Amara gasped, looking up at her brother with eyes full of love and forgiveness. Because that's what family does. We protect each other, even when we're angry, even when we're hurt, even when we've made terrible mistakes. The front door burst open, and soldiers poured in, followed by men and women dressed in mourning clothes. The families of Kesi's victims come to see justice done. There she is, shouted an old woman. The demon who killed my son. She took my husband, cried another. Left my children fatherless. Kesi looked around at all the faces full of grief and rage and the need for justice. She realized that her game was finally over. I regret nothing, she said as the soldiers placed her in chains. They all deserved what I gave them. Even if that were true, said the captain of the guard. It wasn't your choice to make. Justice belongs to the gods and the law, not to broken girls with poison in their hearts. As they led Kesi away, she turned back one last time to look at the twins. I hope you learned something from this, she said. I hope you learned that words have the power to destroy. We did learn, Amara whispered from her brother's arms. We learned that words can destroy, but love can heal. And with that, Kesi disappeared into the night,